They're creating something that is not a commodity, that is very clear in the marketplace as an alternative, that is appealing to people who are willing to spend a little bit more in order to ensure they get the food quality they want. And those clusters and networks who are differentiated understand exactly where their markets are, and they target those markets with large focused investments. So that's conceptually what the opportunities are, from my perspective. Now, what are the Mendocino County strengths? I want to say that I am not the expert in Mendocino County. This is from a cursory review of materials that we did in the last few days. So it's not, I think there are people in the room, in fact, who know much more about Mendocino County and can correct me if I'm wrong, or could add to this list or refine it. So this is my hit. So I'm really open to any changes. But obviously, if you look at the crop reports, wine grapes and wineries are increasingly important and have been for many years. Pears and pasture. Pears and pasture. I drove in. The pears are getting very close. Absolutely gorgeous drive. Always enjoy that on 101 just before you get to Ukiah off to the right. Those pear orchards. Now, pears, it's a tough marketplace, but the thing is you have a nice base of pears, number one. You have quality pears. The two places probably the best in California, if not the nation, for pears, Oregon does a pretty good job too, but are Mendocino and Lake counties. And there are incredible quality pears coming out of this region. So I say, even though it hasn't been huge growth or profitability in pears, there is a strength there because of identity and concentration. Pasture's the other one. You have lots of pasture land. California, there is a thriving meat and cheese market emerging, and with the pasture lands that you have, particularly towards the coast where you stay green a little bit longer, you have opportunities. The whole idea of organic and biodynamic, particularly in wine biodynamic, is the premium definition now. It's emerging, but you are the leader in California around organics per number of farms. This is the leading state, leading county. So I think that's a very important advantage you have. You're close to the Bay Area market. 6 million going to 7, which will probably, even though we're going to have a downturn, will, compared to other areas of the country, will survive it. Collaborative institutions. What do I mean by this? I mean, obviously the grape growers and the Grape Commission has done an incredible job. Mendocino County Wine Alliance, Mendocino County Promotional Alliance, the tourism organization's name just went out of my mind, forgive me, but there's a group of tourism folks that have been working together, tourism industry. The Mendocino Alliance, Mendocino Futures Group that's emerged in the last year or two that I've learned about through Paul Dolman and others. I think these are collaborative institutions that become very useful in the development of value chains and networks and clusters. These are folks that can be utilized from the public to help make those things happen. And then the alternative and renewable energy. Obviously, this area has been an innovator in that field. Many properties and businesses are utilizing these types of alternative and renewable energy. And this is important because in the next several years, energy prices are going to continue to go up to the point where it's not inconceivable that oil will be more expensive than other forms of energy within the decade. And to the extent that you have moved energy sources for agriculture to other forms of energy, you will be more resilient and adaptive to what's going to go on. And you have a good base for that because of people that live here, businesses that are here, and because of the innovation that's going on in many wineries particularly. And then specialty meat. The specialty meat market is growing, driven by concerns about BSE and E. coli and all the things that are on the news about all that. There are real opportunities for specialty meat production. I know of, so I actually buy my beef out of Potter Valley. Every year I buy a beef from a rancher in Potter Valley. Also pork from Black Sheep Farm, which just moved up here from Sebastopol, is now producing pork and lamb. There are other producers producers in the county who are in a place around specialty meats. The big problem is we need processing, and there are some emergent possibilities around meat processing that could be regionalized. So I think that's an important thing. So these are the strengths that I saw. I open it to any of you to, and by the way, I don't want to just lecture. If you guys want to grab here and wrestle me down and argue about what I'm saying, please feel free. I'm really interested in doing that, actually.
Michael,
yeah.
where does the redwood industry list in your...
Okay, well, redwood's huge. I think, unfortunately, that is not my expertise. Timber is not my expertise. I was actually very interested in reading the reports. I do think that timber, particularly sustainable yield operations, are going to be the future. And I was looking at the trends in the last crop report actually yesterday, and I was impressed. It looked like there was a big downturn, then there was a kind of a slow climb, and then a little dip, and now it looks like it's coming back. So it seems, and I don't understand all the dynamics around that, but I have followed what's going on with the forest here and the new group that's managing that property. And I think not only is it a news story, it's actually a very, I think, long-term, a very probably profitable operation. Just from what I've heard, unfortunately, I'm not an expert in it, so